poll conducted in recent years indicates that Israelis are losing faith in their political establishment. Is it surprising? Probably not, if we consider the fact that for the past 2 decades, all those who served in the most important role of all, Prime Minister, were accused of corruption. Following the harsh recommendations against him, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is fighting for his political survival and also possibly for his personal freedom. If he will eventually be found guilty of the charges put forward by police investigators, Netanyahu may find himself in jail, maybe even in the same cell as the man who he replaced at the Prime Minister's office. Ehud Olmert is, for now, the only former Israeli Prime Minister who served time in prison. He was sentenced to 27 months, of which a third was later reduced. He'd been found guilty for his heavy involvement as Jerusalem mayor in the authorization to build high-rise residential buildings in the Holy Land compound in southern Jerusalem. Olmert was not supposed to be the Prime Minister. He replaced Ariel Sharon in the post when Sharon suffered a stroke, from which he never recovered. Sharon perhaps could have been the first Prime Minister to go to jail due to various charges against him. But in one of those cases, involving illegal election funding, his son, Omri Sharon, took all the charges upon himself and was sentenced to 7 months in prison. The charges against Sharon were dropped, but the public strongly criticised him, believing he'd sacrificed his son to save his own political career. Sharon replaced Ehud Barak as Prime Minister. The former military chief of staff had also been investigated by police for illegal election funding, a case which was eventually dismissed. If you wonder who was Prime Minister before Ehud Barak, and if there are any charges against him, well, the answer is Benjamin Netanyahu. Even then, in his first term, more than 20 years ago, there were allegations against him, which somewhat resembled the current ones, regarding gifts and benefits he received. But none of them led to indictments. In the early years of this country, the prime ministers from both right and left set examples of modesty. Yitzhak Rabin even resigned the premiership in his first term because his wife had a bank account with American dollars in the US, an illegal act in Israel in the mid-1970s. Rabin said responsibility is shared. It seems as though the current leaders have completely forgotten that lesson. Westropp-Evans, I-24 News.